Alright, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully we are good to go. I'm going to throw the overlay up. I'm going to unmute Rich so he can talk to me. Rich, hopefully we are good to go. I'm going to jump in the plane because we are already in there. So we're kind of like jumping straight in it. So I'm going to let you take it because I need to just do a bit of housekeeping as we get going.
Alright, then I'll take lead then. So as you can see, the plane's already come across and we have players diving out in the air now. It's coming in from the east and heading towards the south. We're just going to be scraping by on the Millie base and ending over Ferryport. So we'll take a look at where these teams are actually going to be playing off from here. We've got a big pocket that's going to be heading up to Yasnaya. About 2 or 3 teams potentially up there. One of them may long shoot and try and make their way quite up high. Potentially to Severny if they can grab themselves a cow. We see one team again that's long shooting, looking like they're heading down to Nova. And then a big pocket of players that are going to be going inside Pachinki. One down in Milta. That's a nice even spread for them. So they've got Milta completely locked down. But it's going to be one down at Promote. So quite a variation of people here. We need to kind of see where these lead pockets go. We've got one team that's just checking out school. They're a little bit cautious. And obviously, when you're dropping down to school, you need to be. They're actually overshooting it. Nobody at school and nobody at apartments. Couple of teams heading Rosshawk and the outer skirts as well. 2 teams, though, over in Yasnaya. So more than likely, this is where we're going to be seeing our first head of action. Now, the one team that you guys at home kind of need to be watching out for is Havu, the ex-Sana boys. So
they're down in Milta
for them. Yeah, that's where they're going to be. And as we're looking at quite an even spread here. It's definitely up near Yasnaya where we need to be watching out, as one team's on one side of the road and the other team's on the other. But everywhere else seems to be pretty even out, to be honest with you. And the circle's going to force them all down because we're probably going to be ending on Millie.
Nice, nice. Right, well, hopefully everything is good to go. Like you say, we do see Encelenso and Co down there. So they're actually banging the circle. So they've got a chance to go Milta Power. They've got Milta Power to themselves. They've got everything to themselves. Did we have any long drops up north? You do have those 2 cars going to Severny, as you mentioned. I'm keeping my eye on the Yasnaya guys, so we'll see whether we get anything going on there. Nobody went into school or apartments. We do, however, did have our first shots. We just saw a team going through. Now, how do you call it, Rich? Because I've always called it Watertown. I know a lot of people call it Venice. It's got a bunch of different names, isn't it?
Yeah, it goes by Watertown, Venice, and then I've heard Atlantis as well, which for some reason I've started picking up, which is probably wrong of me. But yeah, anything but calling it a nice thing, because it's quite an awful. I'm not a big fan personally. I just find myself getting completely stuck into it. The amount of times you'll be just trudging through water, and all of a sudden someone will just come over the hills, and you'll be stuck underneath a foot of water, and you just get mowed down. And fair enough, it's very easy to hide in there. There's a lot of nooks, a lot of crannies. There's all these little buildings and such, and plenty of, like, all around it. The whole place is just ridged and hilled, and there's everywhere you can lay, everywhere you can lie, do what you kind of want. But personally, not a big fan of it. Just to kind of throw a curveball your way, Lee, when we look down now at Millie, we're actually going to see Enzo Lenzo moving across on that first initial bridge on the right-hand side. Would you expect the boys from Nova, knowing they have the circle, to go and camp the bridge, or do you think it's a bit too dangerous when we're playing with so much on the line?
Well, I'm just looking. Encelenso's just took a bike on his own. So he has gone completely on his own, and he's already over the bridge. So he's gone straight solo. So he's left the rest of his team. The rest of his team are in Milton. So this is pretty ballsy play on his own. I've seen him playing a bunch of Awesome tournaments, etc., and he's a pretty strong player in himself, so that's some pretty confident stuff. And bearing in mind, the military base is completely untouched, so potentially he's got a ton of loot over there.
Just to break you off as well, Lee, someone's just arrived at Severny. There is quite a lot of people up there, and they're scouting around. I'm just trying to take a look at exactly what's going on up there.
There's another team coming in as well.
Yeah, so this is 2 teams that are going side by side. We've got one team checking out the barn side. Willith, Fresh, they've got 2 ARs between them. One of the teammates has a handgun, and then the opposing, in fact, they've got all the weapons in there and all the toys here right now. This could be quite an interesting one, to be honest with you, to see who kind of spots each other out first.
Yeah, they've been spotted. The UAZ that's just gone to the north of town, it's just gone around. The second thing, they've got no loot at all, by the looks of it. These 2 in the UAZ, they've got no guns at all. They've been spotted by the church, so they now know they're here. And already, Kaiser And spot triceps, we'll go with, is about to take the shot. So about to run straight past in front of him. Did get down. It's Herman that's going to be down first. He's not. First blood comes in. Freshless gets it.
Yep, and now they're completely annihilating one. They pincered him inside that barn, knocked him out, and used him as bait. They tried to get out of the URs. 1, 2, 3. 3 are down, looking for this final guy. They're not actually going for the kills initially, because there's no real need to. They're just going to use them all a bit. All they need to do is find this fourth and final guy. And that's going to be Weld over there with the UMP, just chilling. They're just been a bit of a nuisance and popping shots. There's no point in chasing these kills down, because they're either going to bleed out, or they're just going to wait for this one guy to pop out, finish him off. On the other side, it looks like, potentially, I'm just seeing what's going down at Millix. All these bodies are now just dropping, letting his way out. However, West is actually camping down, so it kind of helped him out, been around that corner, but he's going to get tanked unless he's got any kind of first aids. He's not kind of triple 2 HP in a dream.
Yeah, just apologies on the overlay. I am going to move that Intel Extreme Masters badge over when I get a chance. When I get a chance to throw in Photoshop. But at the moment, it's kind of like randomly in the middle of the screen across to the side. Everything else is fine apart from that one. Don't know why it's quite in that position. Maybe I've got it a little too small. I'll have a look at that in a moment. But yeah, just Wed Leslie. He's the last man in the squad as well, and he's got no. Oh, he has got. Okay, it's bandages. Bandages. That's all he's left with. He's in a bad place right now.
Level 1, level 2, a shotgun, a UMP, only 30 bullets as well by the quick looks of things. Take a look at the bigger picture. The rest of the Harbour have now moved across the bridge, so we need to keep an eye on that potential battle that goes down over by Novo. We got one team up in Georgia Paul chilling away now. Obviously, remember, we've got this new system where the outside the blue, the further you are away from the circle, the more damage that thing's going to do. So expect to see these teams try to move a little bit more quicker. It's a lot more punishing now to kind of loot outside the blue circle, move away. You used to see some teams that happily move up to Zaki or happily sit in Primorsk for the rest of this time, wait for the initial first circle to come in, and just keep on looting and then slowly worm their way now. But the further you are away from that circle, the more incremental damage it will do. So expect to see a few teams move a little bit earlier from now on. I'm interested to see how you think that's going to kind of change up the meta here, as we have just seen our first care package come in, and already...
Oh, AWM.
Already we got a nice big boy gun in play, and a ghillie suit as well.
Has he got ammo? Yes, he does. Of course he does. So, ghillie suit as well. I didn't notice that. Wow. Oh, yeah. He is suited and booted. So, Hiker on fire. Got that gun. Let's see what the rest of his team... They're going to be in a good position as well. They've just got to get out those big fields, because I'm pretty open at the moment. But he's fairly clear. Looking back over towards Novo. These guys have got themselves in position. We're talking about the bridge camp. They've kind of got it camped. It depends if they're going to stick around it. Encelenzo has been here for a very long time, so I'm guessing, yeah, they're on the roof. They're going to be camping out. So they're not on the bridge itself, but they're at the gas station, so they've pretty much got it covered out. So that bridge is covered. As I say, still nobody going into Sosnovka. And like you say, it could be a military, it could be a Sosnovka finish, and nobody's been in there. It's totally untouched so far.
And now as that first circle will start to climb in, you can see everyone's getting on the vehicles, and they are just worming their way back. Hiker on fire, as you mentioned, or Hilker on fire, excuse me. M24 and Gillet just rotating around with his teammates. They're probably going to either try and cross the initial left bridge, or, again, when you've got an M24 like that, you could potentially try and camp it out and get some people as they try and rotate, because they know that everybody on the west side of the map has to come to them. There's no way you're going to see anyone kind of from the west rotate over to the east and then go across that bridge. Could be quite dangerous. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen a care package land more perfectly. If you look down on over near Novo, the care package is quite literally just landed on Shuffler's head.
Yeah, he's sat waiting. He's happy. He's like, yeah, come on, bring it to me. He's already got... Has he got a silencer on that? He looks like he's got a silencer. He has already. He's already pretty well geared. I mean, that's only a level 2 zoom, so he's hoping for a better scope, I guess. He's
going to get himself a Kar98. He's going to get himself a level 3 vest. So, fair enough. Level 3 is always a damn good upgrade. Not the best weapon in there. You're hoping for something like an AWM or an M24, for example, or an MK if you're looking at the sniper rifle. So, but still, get yourself a Kar98. You're always going to be happy. You need to get a scope on that bad boy because you don't want to be iron sighting away. I'm just looking down at the The Havu guys. That's a lot of ARs they've got, and they're all just waiting here, chilling, spread out. Obviously, that's where you want to be, because you don't want to get caught off guard if one of them does fall. Where's everyone else rotating to? Where could we see a next engagement?
They've even
Everyone's
protected the
moving down
Dacia, haven't they? They've even tucked it in the corner there. So they're like, okay, if we need a car, we're going to keep it covered. It's in behind the wall. They've got everything covered. And more importantly, you can use it to just hop over the wall here, giving him perfect cover. His teammate, he's coming in as well. It's, I don't really mind. He's actually been over to Milter Power, so he's basically looted just about everything he can. Everything he needs. And now, you can see he's even hoovering up the boats. So he's actually taking away the resources from the other team. So he's going to get himself that boat as well and say, you know what? You're going to have to come over the bridge because we've taken the boats as well.
One team's actually come in, is going to flank around completely off everybody. If they go down and go completely to the south of the boat, you look on the wonders from the outside. Someone get knocked out from falling. That's potentially a bit of a fat finger there coming in. As one person will fall. Just looking at some of the things across the board.
No, that might be shots. It's shots, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's that going to come from? Just trying to find this one that's going on. This is going to be at the top of the map. As everyone's
it's damage for the wind moving in. Yeah, they're both down. They're in trouble. They came in the buggy.
Hiker on fire. Taking some shots with that 24. He's got a nice scope on it as well. 8 times looking across. He knows exactly where they're going to be. He's actually pinched the bullets on the US so they can't run away. They are trying to run on foot now. He needs to land some of these targets though. They're all just bobbing back and forth. Weaving left and right. Missing these bullets. Come on, you can find some. You got the big boy gun. Make them count. Still pushing them back. And as they're pushing them up that hill, they need to be careful because they've got one team bearing down upon them. Lee. You can see the cars, they're all just coming in from above. Now the next circle has moved, and lo and behold, we've still got Havu just sitting strong. Not quite center of the map, but certainly in a very, very solid and strong position. Yeah,
they had just about the perfect start. It's one of those times, you know, you're like, okay, where are we going to begin? Where are we going to drop? We're going to go Milter. We're on our own. We've got Milter Power to ourselves. And oh, look at that. The circle's here as well. It's just like the perfect start for them. For basically the #1 seeded in this group. Well, in case you're unaware, we didn't actually mention it right at the start because we had a bit of a moment with the internet trying to get things working, but we are covering Group 1, so the very first group of the seedings. Obviously, there is a ton of teams, 320 teams in total. I'm just looking to see this circle. This left bridge, the West Bridge, is about to get very busy, and it looks like most people are actually like, you know what, we're not going to take the bridge, we're going to go water. I'm just wondering where those vehicles that are coming in out of the blue are. Looking north towards the guys that came out of Yasnaya. Obviously, they were together in the Yasnaya together. Didn't actually conflict with each other, but Wed Leslie taking shots. He's the solo man in that squad that got took out in Severny, if you remember. So shots fired on him.
Still alive, just clawing on to dear life. I mean, he's got a couple of level 2s now. He's got the chest, he's got the helmet, he's got an SKS in his back pocket, he's got a UMP. Not entirely sure how many bullets he's got. I'm potentially going to say that's just 30. You wouldn't expect a lot of gear. They're probably going to run. In fact, that team's just looking at him, so they could run back and go for the kill. They don't necessarily have to. Meanwhile, on the opposing side, the one gentleman that run up top, Shuffler, he actually managed to get eyes on the Havu guys from that radio tower, so they're going to be spotted out. So there won't be no engagement there. The team that has spotted them from Novo, they're going to be rotating back. The only thing they need to be aware of is rotating too far, because if they do, they're actually going to run into this team that's come around and flanked everyone from the boats and actually landed on the south side of Sosnovka.
Just having a look. The guys that are in Novo have gone straight for the hill, so they're avoiding any potential engagements, but they have themselves what they believe is going to be one of the end locations. Wed Leslie still taking shots. He's got a suppressor on that UMP. Has got himself a SKS in his pocket as well, but I don't know whether he's got anything for it. He's got no scope at all on this UMP, so I'm guessing he's probably got no scope for the SKS either. He's just running for his life and maybe hoping he can get a high-end finish, because remember, this is all about points. It's 3 rounds, get yourself points, and all he has to do is survive and maybe try and reach that top 10, which would be an absolute bonus for his 3 teammates that got wiped out before they even picked up a gun.
Thankfully, the team that was chasing him has now decided to move on, because I will go questioning whether it was kind of overcommitting just for the sake of getting 1 kill, whether or not you need to stay up there. They're going to move down into the circle. 1, 2 teams are the only, in fact 3 teams, excuse me, are going to be left outside. Another airdrop's going to come in. That's going to be just on the bottom of the radio tower. You can see Harbour looking at it saying, should we go for it? But they're standing their ground. They're standing solid. They know if anyone comes across this bridge, they're going to be in all kinds of trouble. Now, no one's actually made their way across. And honestly, you'd be scared to. And I don't blame any of them.
Yeah.
If you look at another team that's actually inside the water lead, then they're not bothering with the bridge. They're swimming. And when you get to this level of competition, you know, even in matchmaking, you know that people like to camp bridges. It's not necessarily going to be something we see in this, but you've got to be aware because, as you mentioned at the start of the game, what Harbour are doing isn't camping a bridge, but it's certainly in a very good position if everyone makes their way across it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the fact that nobody went to military base just shows how cautious people are at the start of this. You know, obviously that is a hot location, top loot. You know, chances of getting some really good equipment there for the entire squad is pretty high, but nobody went near it. Now, there is a squad moving in right now behind the back of Hilker on fire. I'm just looking over to the west side of Sosnovka. They're just inside the circle, but they're coming out. Now, Damage for the win is going to get spotted out here. He's just cruising around in his UAZ quite happily, and it's surely going to take shots. So it's giving him a massive advantage to Raptor G and co over on the left-hand side. It's just like, okay, let's just follow where he's going. Meanwhile, the rest of his team, they're kind of split. So it's going to be down to Hilker on fire, and they're not looking at all. They're not looking behind him, which is always deadly, because you know you have to look at the blue. The people are going to be coming out of the blue. You've got to keep your mind on it, and nobody at the moment is checking their backs.
Yeah, his teammate next to him as well, Manello, he's got a Kar98. They've both got 8x scopes, so, you know, if they spot them at long distance, 2 sniper rifles, a Kar98 and an M24 bearing down, and you're going to pick up a couple of kills. For every single kill, you're going to bag 10 points. That's quite important. But, again, it's whether or not they look around in time, and this is the nasty thing about being an observer. You can see things like, turn around, and they just don't quite do it. They do have the teammates covering, though. I like this. You mentioned Damage for the win before and Farah. Now they're looking across. They're just going to let them move across this roadside.
Oh, shots. Shots over Sensei, over on the beach, actually. They're in the house. So there's another squad just come out of the water. So shots, suppressed shots as well. So they're not giving the position away too badly. It's actually a very nice location. That beach, I've seen many a game end on that coastline, and it can be a bloodbath. But they didn't really land. They didn't connect. They took a bunch of shots, but nobody actually connected. It's like, okay, we kind of gave our position away. Nobody actually hit anything.
Can't believe Wesley's still alive.
It's still going, Wed Leslie, yeah. Oh, there's the circle. Okay. Now it's real time. We're into Sosnovka. We're in the military base. And it's actually a really nice hill complex there. I'm wondering who's going to get in that house. And it looks like Sile and Prode are going straight for it. There's a nice housing complex on the brow of the hill that gives you really good cover. And it looks like those guys might be there first.
Take a look at the bigger picture there, and Wesley's not moving. He's still sat inside this house. Honestly, it's the bad play because he has a circle that is really, really bad. And if he doesn't have a vehicle, this next circle will kill him. As soon as that moves, he's literally on the outskirts. He's just going to die. Whether he's going to try and heal through it is a different question. He's now turning. He's questioning life. What's going on? He just needs to run. But that also, I'm about to say, it also goes for the squad next to him. But it looks like they're going to have a vehicle themselves, so they can at least move down, because that's quite for the people that are still on, you know, on the North Island away from Sosnovka. That's still quite a punishing hill because they've got a long distance to go. Okay,
I was about to say, you've got to feel sorry for him because the 3 teammates, they're the only people dead so far in the entire game. We've had, like, nobody's died so far, but now we're starting to get people getting closer, so they're starting to get into I always called them caves. I guess they're hangars, technically, on Sosnovka. So there's 2 of them occupied. They saw each other going in there as well. So, chance of engagements. Okay, wow, this is ballsy. They're getting in the UAZ. They're going to go for it. That is crazy. They're actually firing at Hilker on fire screw. Hilker's been knocked. Hilker is down. That's the AWM that's been down there. His teammates in the buggy. They're completely exposed. Not a great deal I can do about this one. Both of them down. And Hilker on fire with an AWM and a ghillie suit taken out in the open there. The buggy exploded, and actually while that happened, that little fight engagement, it gave the other squad a chance to get over into the radar tower, and now they're going to be very close to each other as well. So suddenly, action happens.
Yep, they're all going to pitch up here. They're actually going to move away from this one. No, they're not. They're going to line the cars up, which is fine. UAZ and Dacia, if they do need to get out of town, they can do. You will find that a lot of these teams, they always try and keep at least 2 cars, and you can see how the putting them up against the railings just to try and block any damage and make sure the wheels are covered so no one can pincer the wheels, because the amount of time if you're playing smart and you can't go for the kills, put them in a bad position by taking the vehicles away.
Shots.
From,
Shots over on the bridge. If you look towards the east bridge right now, we did have a squad coming in. They had the vehicles, but they've been lit up from behind. Rub Royal has been downed. That was the M16 from Emsky, who took a fair bit of damage there. So these guys are almost delaying each other. It's that dangerous moment when the blue's coming in, and they're in the long distance blue, so it's going to come in a lot quicker, obviously, there, where poor old Wed Leslie is still trying to run for his life. But these guys, they may actually get caught up a little too long in this blue. They've still got a long way to go over the bridge and into the zone. They've got a long run ahead of them, so they're getting caught up. Both teams are actually doing each other no favors here.
Yeah, not exactly. Oh, we're just in a vehicle explosion go down, and that's going to be, once again,
that's Havu.
I don't really mind. But is that the actual... That's another squad, so that'll be the second squad wipe that those guys have done now. They're looking at the team that's just blazing across the runway. He has no tires, and he is dead. So squad wipe, the second one coming in here for Havu. Racking up some serious points so far for them, young gentlemen. Just looking behind them as well, they've still got to be careful of this one team that landed. We're now above them. It's the squad that landed down in Novo. They've rotated from Novo, they've gone up Radio Tower, and now they have the high ground. Now they're above them in the tree line. But this circle's going to push them in, so they've got to be very careful here. Unless they got a very, very lucky next circle, they're potentially going to get pushed into Havu. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squads are all locked up in melee. This next circle is going to define where people need to move.
Where's Wed Leslie? Oh, bless him. He's found a vehicle. And he's still coming. He's still coming, but look at the blue. Like, they're all chunky now. This is what I talked about. There's two squads fighting on the bridge. They're now in real trouble. They're now both in real trouble. They're trying to hump it across, but that blue is going to be hurting them so much. There was a crate drop that nobody's gone near, but look at this. Okay, looks like Havu are moving. Havu have themselves a fleet of vehicles. They're on the move. They're getting shots from behind. Some long-range shots. Actually, the Novo squad are engaged themselves on the hill. And Havu, guys, they're still in perfect location. They're inside the circle. They've got back into another hangar. They have this one in the bag, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Novo team have just got an entire squad wipe. Unfortunately, one team did come across the bridge, drove outside the blue, and in doing so, they just turned up and arrived to the party, all tanked up. Very easy kill. Big battle going down on the bridge. I think that's Wes Leslie who's actually fallen victim on this one. Squad battle, as we do see a couple of little bridge campers going down, and they are having a one-on-one engagement. But again, meanwhile, while all this is going down over there, they're just getting all tanked up, because it's okay fighting over there, but you're fighting outside the blue, you know, and you're quite a distance away. You need to move in, you need to move fast. I don't think they've got any vehicles left. In fact, it was one squad that came out on top, so that's going to be Energy Squadron, who's actually got a vehicle. They do only have a buggy, I believe, between them, so they need to move rather quickly. The guy's moving now.
That's a bit harsh. They had the three-man trike, and only two of them went in it. And bearing in mind they're in the blue, it's chunking pretty heavily now, so they're just like, you know what, guys, I'm off. It's one of those every man for himself situations. So they're still not quite out the blue. Let's have a look at the circle, because there's a lot of squads in close territory. Those guys that were in Novo, they're pushing in behind. Encelenso and Co, they've actually split. So the Havu guys have split themselves. So they've gone with the duos and are actually taking shots already. The Novo guys are getting lit up as they come down the hill.
Yeah, and they know that they can pin them back. All they have to do is tank them and dink them, and they can let the blue do the rest of the damage. They just hold them there on the hillside, keep them pressed back, keep the pressure on, keep doing the damage, and then when this circle comes in, which it is doing thick and fast, it's going to be deadly. It's going to absolutely murder them unless they can run now. But again, look at that lead. They have absolutely zero coverage. This is a firing line.
Bikini Model took a fair bit of damage there. Yeah, you can see his helmet's been pretty much tanked out. He did get knocked, but he's okay. They've dropped down to the low ground. Yeah, and these guys, they're just getting lit up now. So that's a pretty much done deal. The squad that started in Novo finally finished off. Encelenso collecting himself some kills. These guys between them, by the way, look how many kills they've got. They are dominating the server right now. And they're showing exactly why they are one of the top seeds coming into this one. And this is what we're hoping to see. Obviously, you know, there has been a lot of talk about invites, who should, who shouldn't. But at the end of the day, these top-seeded teams, we do expect them to kind of dominate these early rounds. And look at the circle, though. That is a bitch. That has gone right over to the hill. Everybody now that's in military base, and bearing in mind, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squads in and around military base, all have to move now.
And one of them's actually...
Oh, they're about to meet.
Circles. Yeah, it's going to force an engagement. Only one player was inside that circle. As you mentioned, it was a rough one because it's going to force everyone to now shift up north again. For our biceps, I'm just watching his POV. Don't think he has the information because he's not looking towards them. In fact, here we go. Here comes the initial engagement. They catch one. He will fall. Now his 3 teammates know exactly what's going on. Grenades are going to come in. Frown will try and pre-nade. See if he can find some targets, feel some people out. And he's just peppering them. I think he's got 4 or 5 in the back.
How many's got? Yeah, just keep going.
Why not? Doesn't find anyone. Just initially connect with the guy that they managed to down. But now they're just backing off for a second. They put the smokes down. In fact, those smokes were actually thrown by the initial squad that got the kill, so it's actually kind of helped him out, and he's just...
There's more fire as well. Over in the military base, there's a straight-up open engagement. Kolos and co. landing the shots, and they've got no cover. They got a tree. There's 3 people stuck behind a single tree right now. That's when you know you're in desperate territory for a cover. Raptor G throwing down the smokes. But they are getting lit up. Let's get back over to that squad. I'm going to try and keep as much action as I can. Apologies for winging it round with the camera. But now I'm looking at Frau Biceps, the opposite side, Gitona. They have a good vision on where Frau Biceps is now, so he's kind of pinned behind a tree.
I'm just keeping an eye. I'll let you carry on do that one, but it's all kicking off, Lee. We've got another squad battle going down for the initial houses just outside the circle, and that's a good position because once they've taken that base, they can just move on into the circle. One's going to fall now. M416 will find its target. That's going to be Slayham. Takes one out. Another player comes in as well. Knocks out by Maestros. That's another battle going on the opposing side of the map. One team working their way in.
Yeah,
1, 2...
They just came in behind the Gitona and co. Yeah, that's what it was. The guy, Gitona, who was pinned already. That team that was pinned already by the original guys in the circle, now they're getting hit from behind. They're in real trouble. They found themselves a rock to basically tuck behind, but that's about all they can do. But now because it's getting in this crazy location, Raptor G's team on the left-hand side of them, they're taking fire. Pro goes down. Sile getting lit up. He's going to get tagged out. The blue coming in. Everybody has to get moving, and they're all in trouble. Butternuts goes down. He's been knocked. Gitona, the last man in that squad. Now, looking across, Encelenzo's guy, Havu, they are lighting up the guys. Slayon getting touched up. They are just inside the blue. Everybody's running. Oh, I don't really mind, just lit up his own teammate. Bikini One not going to be happy about that one. A couple of shots in the sideways team.
It's a complete bloodbath. As soon as several rosters move in, they just get pincered. I'm literally just watching from above on the map. The map is telling the picture itself. You can see now with the new bullet shots that we've got on the lines of sight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players. Make that 7. Just dropped in as many seconds. Habu, they've got all 4 players up. They're rotating around the circle, but they need to be careful. Right in front of them, we got Butcher, we got Ensky. They're going to be moving into them very, very gradually. They do have the circle. They can take control. Probably look for them now to move into the center of this. They'll get definitely some cover. Let's try and have a look and see what kind of ground coverage they've got. It's actually going to be the opposing team that does have the high ground. Now remember, having the high ground is not necessarily time and time again the best place to be because you can silhouette when you're on the top of the skyline if your face is just out there on the back. Raptor G comes in, he'll find a kill. It's going to be Noborn who will drop. 2 players damaged for the win. The last 2 remaining on his roster. Fair enough, they've made it into the top 16 remaining. Sile's going to get found. 1, 2, 3, 4 players going to bear down upon him. He needs to be very careful, taking some shots back himself. And now all of a sudden, we'll see. And Salenzo finding Energy. They're going to be careful. These 2 squads are going to be the last 2 remaining. You know what? In fact, the main one that we need to be aware of here, Lee, Habu have got to be careful because if damage for the win and his buddy come in, they could cause all kinds of problems. But I absolutely love what I don't really mind he's doing. He's tracking back and just being super aware of these to call them out. He has some information. He has some idea. This is a big player. Being able to spot these 2 players out now and stop a rotation coming in could potentially stop his squad from wiping.
And Salenzo taking shots. He's managed to get Ensky down. Found Biceps. They didn't have the high ground, but they are fully suppressed and set up there. Landing the shots from Biceps. Oh, solo to being tagged. Spin around behind them. Now they've got information behind them. They have to run for cover. And Silenzo been down. Damage for the win. Taking shots. He managed to get lit up. But now the team at the side of them come in. I don't really mind. Lands a bunch of shots. And we're down to the last 3 teams. And Silenzo is down. I don't really mind. He's trying to help him out. Bikini Model. Now the guys that were on the hill, they came in late. Raptor G and Co. They had themselves a perfect setup here. And Butcher, they've got to be careful. Look at the circle. Look how close they all are. I don't really mind. He's kind of the guy that's in there. And Silenzo has been picked back up by his teammate. Butcher, the last man standing on his team there. We're down to the last 3. Butcher's going to get knocked. No. Just about lives. He's down. We're down to 2 and all 4 are alive.
So here we go then. Final 2 squads, one-on-one battle. Who's going to win this one? We got one team. They got the top side of the circle. However, we're actually going to see. We know how good Sauna Boys have been doing so far. Excuse me, Havu now. They're moving up. Jorski's tag. He needs to get some health off really, really quickly. I don't really mind. He's pushing in aggressively. He knocks out one. He goes for the second. The spray down comes in. There's a second player as well. They're all falling like flies here. This is incredible. 1, 2, 3. The last person's there. Zuda's going to be the last man standing on the corner. 4 versus 1. This is a massacre, Lee. He's going to drop. Oh my word. What an execution from I Don't Really Mind. The flank came in from the left-hand side. They had no idea where he is. He just came up from the south. And look at those kills between them. What an absolute belting amount of work. Is that 19 kills between the roster?
Yeah, massive. 7 kills for I Don't Really Mind. 7 for Encelenso. Bikini Model with the 4. And Julski with just the 1. You know, it's just like, he's got that embarrassing moment for his team. He's just like, don't worry, guys. I'll just carry the ammo. But, yeah, I mean, that was... I think we could tell from the very beginning. Havu, obviously, they started in Milta. They took control of the bridge and Milta Power, and they were kind of in the perfect circle position throughout the game. You know, they moved into the hangar area, the caves, whatever you prefer to call it. They had the upper ground and the lower ground of the caves. They lit up a bunch of squads coming in vehicles because it's a big open territory, so you kind of have to get in with a vehicle. If you're going to run across, as the Novo guys found out, you're going to get lit up. So really, they just had perfect positioning throughout the whole thing. And I would say the only danger moment they had there was when they were on the low ground. And I believe it was... I think it was Labri, Frau Biceps, and Butcher and Ensky, the guys that finished 3rd. They had the high ground. And that was the only real danger moment that you felt Havu were in trouble.
So the one person that we have to kind of... who was the Lord and Savior here for that team... I don't really mind. Now, this is where you kind of separate the good from the okay, from the matchmaking, from the who's trying to move it into a professional stance. The whole team was looking towards the top of the circle, which is fine. You need to keep an eye on that team that's bearing down upon you. I don't really mind. Rotated behind his team. He looked down the hill. He looked down towards the circle from the south and says, okay, we need to be aware of any people that are going to be flanking us, watching the cover. 2 players came in, fair enough. We saw Enzo Lenzo get knocked. I Don't Really Mind comes in, bang, bang. 2 instant kills for him. That's 20 points there. But not only is it 20 points, it's another squad wiped. He can then say, okay, boys, we have this. We can now move forward. We can now look forward and focus our attention on this one squad in front of us. All of a sudden, from where he is, Lee, he just says, right, okay, I'm banking left here. We know where that team is up on the hill. He banks left. He knocks out 3 of the last team that's there. Just completely, they're all lined up. They've no idea where he is. And from all of a sudden, from staying back away from his team and just splitting off from that pack and just being aware of what's behind him until he's left, it's rough to say he single-handedly won them the game, but picking up 4 kills in the last circle, 5 kills, is an incredible job to watch your back and then move and rotate behind the team and flank them. Awesome stuff.
It was one of those crazy games as well where just... for, I would say about 4 or 5 circles, nobody was dead. Other than that original team in Severny, the 3 guys that died. And actually, I'm just trying to see where he finished, bless him. Because he was all alone. Where did he get? Where did he get? Was he... oh, I can't even see him. I think he's outside the top 13, looks of it. So he did in the end, despite his gallant effort. I can't remember his name. It was Leslie, wasn't it? Something Leslie.
Yeah, where's Leslie?
Where's Leslie?
Wesley?
Oh, Wed Leslie, they got 10th. Okay. So despite the rest of his team dying, he did manage to get themselves up to top 10. So he did alright. He did alright. Despite the fact he died, well, he wasn't in the blue, but we knew he was in trouble. But yeah, other than that, other than those 3 kills, it was a long time before any battles. And that's because nobody landed in Sosnovka. Like, nobody was down there for ages. So nobody went over the bridge, bless them. You know, they'd set up, Encelenso had set up that bridge camp for so long and nobody came. It's one of those moments. But we saw how cautious they are. Now, next game, we're going to be switching over to Lobby 5, I believe. Group 5, that's going to be Kingswing's group. So we're going to get to see how those guys do. Obviously, I would say probably the #1 seed in the qualifiers overall. Certainly for Europe, at least. So we're going to jump back into lobby, and we'll be back in just a few moments, guys. Great game to start with. We got a long days casting ahead of us. We're going to be here for the next, I would say, 14 hours. That's pleasant thinking right there.
I have plenty of my own energy drinks here.
Yeah.
I'll trust you that.
Right, guys, we're back in a few. Don't go anywhere.